Hi and welcome back to another AnyRPG Development Livestream. In this video series you can watch the live development of the AnyRPG Engine, a free and open source role-playing game engine designed in Unity and written in C#. If you don't already have a copy of AnyRPG, you can pick one up from anyrpg.org/downloads in both Unity package and source code format. You can also download A Lost Soul, the free playable game that I work on in these episodes, from the same page. In this episode, we'll be doing a follow-up to our last episode about importing and cleaning up free assets from Sketchfab. There is a plugin called the Sketchfab importer that actually allows you to import directly into Unity by adding this Sketchfab menu, and you can click on Browse Sketchfab and you can type in whatever you're looking for and you can find the results and import them directly into the editor. So in this episode I'm going to be covering how to find and install the plugin, as well as how to use the plugin, when to use the plugin, and even more importantly when not to use the plugin, because believe it or not, it's actually got certain use cases that it works good for and certain use cases that it absolutely does not work for at all. So let's get started with how to find the plugin. If you go to the Sketchfab website, then you can scroll down, and due to the fact that they have infinite scroll, you have to keep on scrolling before you can actually see the download link. It's kind of silly to put a footer on a page with an infinite scroll, but you can also avoid that whole infinite scroll problem by going to any other page like notifications, and now you can see the footer. You'll see an ecosystem importers menu here, and when you click on the importers page, you can click on Unity, where you'll be taken to the GitHub website, and you'll see the Sketchfab for Unity plugin. There is a plugin on the Unity asset store, but you probably don't want to use that one, as it is the wrong version. The version of the plugin on the Unity asset store is like 0.5 alpha or something like that. So if you look at the Sketchfab for Unity plugin here, you can see, latest version 0.85 alpha. So definitely use the one off of GitHub, because we have 1.1.1 and it's compatible basically with Unity LTS, which was just released. So on the page, you can scroll down to the bottom and it will have a download link here for a Unity package. What you want to do is download this Unity package and then just drag this Unity package into Unity, at which point it will install. And you will have in Unity a Sketchfab menu. So let's cover the first use case, using the Sketchfab importer to import non-humanoid models like just props. So I'm actually going to do this the long way first, just to show you how much better the Sketchfab importer is. So I was looking around and I've been creating my Tailor's Guild in the game here. And in the game, my Tailor's Guild needed some props, and so I put in like some needles and buttons and found like some cool sewing machine and stuff. And I went over this all in the last episode here. One of the things that I noticed was that the performance really sucked, and I hadn't been paying attention in the last episode, and I downloaded some stuff with like, look at this needle right here. This is a great looking needle, but it's got 180,000 triangles. Similarly, I had this bone button here, and this bone button has 1.6 million triangles, which is absolutely crazy. So I got rid of that, and I'm just using the simple button right now, which has still got a lot of triangles at 3.2 thousand. But I couldn't find a good low poly needle, so we're basically going to make one. This is kind of an interesting model right here that you can find on Sketchfab. It's just called 01 Restoration, but what it does have is this beautiful little low poly sewing needle, so we're going to use that. I have downloaded the package already into Unity, so we're going to be demonstrating the manual import process here. I've unzipped it and we have the 01 Restoration. So I'm going to pull this in and I'm going to let it import. And then you'll see that we've got a source here, and if I look at it, he's totally gray. So we're going to have to fix up the materials on this guy. So what I'll do is I'll just maybe drag him into the scene, put him on the table here. It looks like he's a little small, so we're going to have to scale him up a little bit, maybe do like a scale factor of like 10 there. There we go. And now he's about the right size. And he's still totally gray, so what we need to do is go into materials and click on extract materials and just choose select folder, and that's fine. Then what we want to do is we have to apply the textures to them, so I'm just going to drag the textures in here to make it a little easier. And you can see that, you know, we've got like two textures, this Blinn and a Lambert. And I don't know what Blinn and Lambert mean in relation to this animal here. So we're just going to have to play around. So if I look up Blinn and I just start messing with the color, okay, Blinn is his body, all right. And what about Lambert? You know, I can mess with the color and okay, hey, look, Lambert is the needle. So so what we'll do is we'll go over to Blinn and we'll put in this normal map here and click Fix Now, and then we'll put in the Lambert, we'll put in the Fox plush up there, and that's not bad. And then for the Lambert, if we try putting in the Fox plush, we'll notice basically that the needle turns orange. So in other words, this needle literally has no texture. So we're going to have to mess with it a little bit, maybe increase the smoothness a little bit. And now, you know, we've sort of got a nice shiny needle. Okay, great. This is pretty cool. And in fact, what I can even do is now I can actually just like click on the needle, because the needle was actually the only thing that I really wanted from this entire model, and p cube 10 is the needle, so I can just pull the needle out here. Okay, so first I actually have to make an original prefab of him. Right, and now I can just pull the needle out and just make a, I guess I got to open him up. All right, and finally now I can just pull the needle out and make a prefab of the needle. And this is awesome because if we look at this needle and we click on the P cube, or like, let's just open that up there. So it's a nice needle. It's not 3 million vertices or several 100,000 like some of the ones up there. And we can see on this mesh basically that there we go, 46 verts, 56 triangles. So this is a nice performant needle. But it took a little work to import that. So let's look at a little bit of an easier way to do that. I'm just going to delete this model from my scene here. And I'm going to go into the import folder, and I'm just going to delete the entire thing. Let's look at how much easier this is going to be using the Sketchfab importer. So we're going to click on Browse Sketchfab here, and we're going to type in the word needle, and we're going to uncheck staff picked. By the way, you will need to log in. You'll need a Sketchfab account. And when you open this thing, there should be a login menu here. I've already done it, so I can't really demonstrate that. We find the restoration here. We're going to click on that, and we've got this nice sort of download model, and it uses the Gltf, or the GL translation format, to download. So we're going to click on download model, and instead of the FBX, it's actually going to import the Gltf for us. And this is actually really cool because the Sketchfab importer allows you to import Gltfs both manually and automatically through Sketchfab. Like, you can just download a Gltf from any source and import it as well, which is great because Unity doesn't support this natively, which is kind of surprising because if Sketchfab made a plugin for it, you'd figure if it's on GitHub, Unity could just like copy their source code and include this as an editor feature. For some reason, I guess they don't want to. So anyway, we've got this thing in our game now, and it's been imported into this restoration, and it actually comes with an object that is a little bit humongous, way humongous it looks like. So that's one difference, is that the scale was basically adjusted quite a bit on the import. So we're going to have to go through and maybe shrink the scale. Let's put it down to like 0.1 on all axes, and there we go. Now it's about the right size. And this is great because it's already the object I need. So if I want to make that needle out of it, I think I can basically just open this thing up. You'll see it's got a considerably different hierarchy. The Gltf has like levels and levels of root nodes, and then we've got this p cube, which is the needle, and I think the p cube Lambert tin is the actual needle, so I think I can just pull that in, make a prefab out of it, and let's just take a look at that. Great, so we have our needle. So you can see how much quicker that was, just because of the fact that we didn't have to go through and manually apply the textures, and it just did it automatically for us. So that was considerably faster. Now let's contrast this with a situation where you should absolutely never use the Sketchfab importer. So what I'm going to do is I've actually looked for an example on Sketchfab, and I found this tower tenant right here. So this guy's great. You know, it's a character and it looks like he's animated, so there's a very good chance he's got a good bone rig, and we can probably just like import this guy and use him in our game, right? So I've already downloaded his 3D model here, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go into Unity, and we are going to just drag in that tower tenant right here. And we're just going to import it manually. So this was, I downloaded the FBX version of this. If you click on the download link for the tower tenant, you'll see FBX, because Unity doesn't import these other file formats. So here's our tower tenant, and he's in here, and this is actually great because if you look at our tower tenant right here, he actually imported with the textures already applied, which means that whoever exported this into an FBX did a really good job. We don't have to clean up the textures, so this is fantastic news. But if you look at his rig, it's generic, so I'm just going to change it to humanoid, and I'm going to hit apply, and wow, look at that. He had a perfect bone model with absolutely no problems, and he's got a nice humanoid rig. We don't see any error messages here, so this is really fantastic. And in fact, I can click on play here, and you know, he's playing the animation. He actually had that animation included right in the file. So this is great, and in fact, just like going even a little bit further here, what I can do is I've got an idle neutral animation, and this is the one that all of the characters in my game use when they're idling. So the character is going to sit here, stand here, I mean, and then he's going to like wipe his mouth or something or after a little while. So this is great because this is a humanoid animation, and I can take my tower tenant and I can just like pull his model down into there, and then there we go. And then I can like reverse that animation a little bit, and you can see, and he's wiping his chin, and it looks fantastic, right? He plays it exactly the same way as any other humanoid rig would play it. So that was the manual import, not using the plugin. So let's just take our tower tenant here and delete him from our project, and then we're going to see what difference it makes when we use the Sketchfab plugin to attempt to import an animated human model. So I'm going to look for tower tenant using my Sketchfab plugin again. I'm going to uncheck staff picked, and there he is. Great, so we can click download model, and similarly to when we downloaded the teddy bear, you know, we're going to go through this process here. It's going to import the GLTF for us, and then it's going to, you'll see it doing a bunch more work. It's going to get some textures and import all the images, and then it's going to, I think, import all the meshes and stuff too. So we'll let that complete. It's going to take, I don't know, maybe 10-20 seconds or something like that. All right, great. So now we've got our tower tenant, and he is imported using the importer. And first thing we notice is basically he's got a much different structure here. We don't have a source and a textures, and we also just kind of have this thing. And we can pull this into our scene. It's a prefab. Also, it's huge. He's kind of way too big. He's like a giant stomping on the city there. And one of the things that you see immediately is if you look at the structure of this, he doesn't have his bone structure in a root node. He's just got like these GLTF like hierarchy, and the bone structure is hidden here under root joint, right? But the problem is that there's no avatar attached to this. So if we open it up, and I think I can just click Alt to expand the whole thing, perfect. And we just like sort of scroll down and look through here, we've got just like all the joints and the whole structure and everything. And then if we go down even further, we'll eventually get like to the mesh renderers. But the GLTF import process doesn't seem to handle animations. So we get the animations, right? But we also like we get the meshes separately. They're not imported as part of that main object. But what we're really missing here is anything resembling an object where we can tell it that it has a humanoid rig. So if I go back to my idle neutral animation here, and you can see it's working. The guy's rubbing his chin and stuff. And then I take my new tower tenant that I imported using the Sketchfab importer, and I drag him over on top of this. Let's just drag this down and turn it around so we can see him. And we'll go back and we'll play the animation, and notice he does absolutely nothing. He just stands there completely still, not animated. And this is because the import process does not, or at least like the GLTF import process using the Sketchfab importer, doesn't import avatars, and it doesn't import like the characters properly, basically. So if you want a really easy way to just download like some props for your game, then I highly recommend using the Sketchfab importer. It really speeds things up. The fact that you can just click download model, and it's going to come in with all the textures and everything applied basically 100% of the time. It's never failed me on that level. But if you find an animated character, it is most definitely best to just head over to Sketchfab directly, click download model, and download the FBX, and deal with the manual application of the textures if necessary, because that way you can at least get something that has an avatar in it that you can actually turn into a humanoid rig in Unity and actually use in your game as a real character. So one more quick thing that I just wanted to show here is if we take this bear here and we click on download 3D model, and we can actually click on auto converted format GLTF, and I'm just going to download that, and let's delete the old restoration that I had. We're going to just unzip this guy right here, and inside this I believe we'll see a GLTF file. So now we can actually use the Sketchfab importer to import that GLTF file. Pretend you got this GLTF from some other site other than Sketchfab. So I'm just going to basically take the GLTF, I'm going to drag and drop the file right there, and I'm just going to hit the import button. And it's actually going to just import it manually. So it's actually really cool that even if you don't have a Sketchfab account, even if you don't want to use Sketchfab, you can still install the Sketchfab importer, and you can just import GLTF files manually using it, which is something that Unity doesn't natively support. And then, here he is as imported, and he's looking pretty good. So I hope you enjoyed that. As always, if you did, don't forget to thumbs up the video, subscribe to the AnyRPG YouTube channel, or just leave a note in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy the Sketchfab importer and it makes your life easier when it's appropriate. And I will see you next time.